Hello, students. Now we're gonna start our second part of our defense domain. Now, in the first part, we have discussed of the various missiles. So keep it as a good model for revising all the missiles. Right? We started with the guided missile development program. Then we discussed ballistic missiles. We discussed the cruise missiles. We discussed the missiles launched from the submarines, right? These things. Then we went on to discuss some of the anti-tank missile also. So the structuring part I was discussing, that you should know the umbrella under which category a particular missile lies. You need to know the basic difference between a Trishul and a Astra, right? A Trishul missile and a Astra missile. You need to know the basic difference between Sagarika missile and let's assume spike bombs or spike missile. So under which category these missiles are lying? If we get an idea about that, and we are enough, that's enough for us, right? In the second part, we'll discuss some exercises. We'll discuss submarines, importantly the submarines today, right? The structuring of submarines I'll discuss in this particular session. Let's start. First is CAS Ind 19. So from the name itself, it is very easy. The exercise is between Kazakhstan and India, right? So it's an annual military exercise between both the countries. Recently, in the October month, it has been done in the Uttarakhand, right? So the idea is, the main idea behind the exercise is the hybrid warfare and counter-terrorism and counter-insurgency operations. If you talk about Kazakhstan, it is also the part of SCO, right? Along with India and all the remaining countries. Now, Kazakhstan, like India, is also facing a lot of insurgencies. The whole region is infested with the problem of the rising terrorism. Along with that, the hybrid warfare is becoming a new normal. Now, what is hybrid warfare? You can give the example of Kashmir, right? So, apart from the normal, the conventional way of warfare, where one military is attacking the other military, in the hybrid warfare, what happens is, there is a combination of the disinformation, economic manipulation is there, proxies, insurgencies, diplomatic pressure, all these things. So apart from the conventional military to military engagement, there is other non-state factors are also there. Okay, so this is hybrid warfare. Next is Indo-Thai Corpat. So what you need to remember is Corpat. So we all know that the name of the exercise where it is not mentioned, or for example CASIND. So that is not relevant for UPSC, right? Because everybody knows CAS is Kazakhstan. But if the name of the exercise is ambiguous, or a special name is given for the exercise, then that becomes important. Recently, PIB has also published a list of the exercise. You should see that. So in that, pick up those exercises. I will discuss all the exercises, relevant exercises, and at the end, I'll give you the compilation as well. So revise or read only those exercises apart from the other ones in which some specific name is given. For example, Corpat. So Corpat is basically exercise between India and Thailand Navy, right? And how can you remember? Just try to remember with images, right? It's really tough to remember. So you can see the image, it is there, Navy. So something water related, so it will be Navy, right? The objective of the exercise was to ensure the effective implementation of the UN clause, that is United Nations Convention for the Laws of the Sea, that ensures the idea of the freedom of the navigation, so that there should not be restriction on the navigation, especially in the international waters, right? Okay, you don't have to remember the which ships have participated. Okay, this thing will go a lot. This thing will go overboard, right? So next is Maitri. So Maitri exercise has been conducted by India and Thailand. Okay. Now, that was Thailand, India, Corpat was a Navy exercise. This particular exercise is with respect to Army. How can you remember Maitri? So you can what I'll suggest you, or story can I give you in many of the things I've given you the same logic, that absurd logics, right? So you can see tree. So trees are in the equatorial region. So one of the countries in the equatorial region is the ASEAN countries. Among the ASEAN countries, which country will be there? T. Trees, right? Tree. So within T, you can get Thailand, tree. So from that, you can talk about Thailand. Okay. So it's an annual joint military exercise which has been conducted by India and Thailand, like that. Okay. So it is being conducted in both jungle and the urban scenario. because urban terrorism is becoming a new thing, like the new modern form of terrorism. One of the component of the modern form of terrorism, apart from the e-terrorism that I've discussed in the Christchurch call to action, remember the initiative of the France and the New Zealand. So this particular exercise also takes care of the urban terrorism. So I was discussing that urban terrorism has also become a new phenomena, a form of the new terrorism, right? Okay, these things are more or less in the mains examination. In now I have to compare between Maitri and Maina Maitri. Maina Maitri. So Maina Maitri exercise is being conducted between India and Bangladesh, right? So you have to remember, so that Manamati Maitri, sorry, Manamati Maitri. So please do take care of it. The Maitri exercise is between India and Thailand army, and Maina Maitri is between India and Bangladesh. Okay, so that is Maina Maitri. Next is Yuddha Abhyas. So I think Yuddha Abhyas is very famous. Yuddha Abhyas between India and USA. India and USA, Yuddha Abhyas. Okay, it happens alternatively between India and USA. So currently, in September month, it was conducted in the Washington. Right. So next is exercise T center. So this exercise is not an India centric exercise. This is a Russian centric exercise, right? So it's an annual series of large exercise, part of the Russian armed forces annual exercise. Now, why we are reading it? Because India becomes a part of the exercise itself, along with the other countries. Okay, so every year they conduct this exercise in one of the 4 military commands. We don't have to remember that. Just we have to remember that's a Russian exercise. Okay, from the name itself you can decipher it's a Russian sort of name. So apart from the host Russia, I was discussing that contingents from India, Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, for example, the strategic backyard of USA, Russia, along with India, China. So majorly SCO countries are there, right? Okay, so it focuses on the two of things, on offensive operation and the counter terror operations, and not an important thing, right? Next is SITMAX. So this one is important. So SITMAX is inaugural. It is the first time it has been done. So SITMAX mein S is for Singapore, I is for Indian Navy, and T is for Thailand. So with respect to Thailand, this is our third exercise, right? First we have seen Corpet, then we have seen Maitri, and then now we are seeing SITMAX. But it is a trilateral exercise, and it's an inaugural. The first time it is being done, right? So 2 to 3 facts you just have to remember. It's first time it is being done, between which countries, and if they ask a tough question, they'll ask you where it was conducted. So where you'll get an answer. It is conducted at the Port Blair, Andaman and Nicobar, right? Conducted 2 phase, harbor phase, sea phase, not too much important, right? So Indian Navy ships that have participated, not important, because if we started reading these missiles and these destroyers, then it will become a very clumsy. Unless until they become a part of the major headline themselves, we don't have to remember it, right? Okay. Next is you can read it. It's that is going beyond what we are supposed to do, right? But it is always good to know things, but we also need to keep in mind that we have a limited memory to ourselves. So we have to limit ourselves to very specific things. That's the whole point of our discussion. Next is SLYNEX. So SLYNEX, from a name itself, you can guess that it is Sri Lanka. So it is Sri Lanka and India, right? SLYNEX. So it's a naval exercise, India Sri Lanka naval exercise, 7th in edition, and from 2015 they have been carrying it out. They conduct it once in 2 years, once in every 2 years. Okay, so bilateral exercise, right? Next is Malabar, very famous exercise. So started in 1992 by India and USA. Later Japan has joined. In fact, Malabar exercise is said to be one of the exercises that became an one of the what we say, concrete manifestation of the idea of Quad. Now they are thinking, currently not being joined, but they are thinking that the Australia should also join this particular Malabar exercise. Overall architecture of US to contain China. Okay, okay. So 23rd edition has been conducted. It's an annual exercise held alternatively in the India and the Pacific Ocean. So the idea of Indo-Pacific. Okay, started in 1992, Japan joined in 2015. Right. Next is Samudra Lakshman. So Samudra Lakshman is between India and the Indonesia. Oh, sorry, India and Malaysia, not Indonesia. I'm really sorry. So Indian Navy and Malaysian Navy. Okay. So you have to make some again a story so that you can relate this idea of Samudra Lakshman with the idea of Malaysia. Okay. So this is that. So INS Sayadri, INS Kiltan have participated there, and again I'll say we don't have to remember this. If any specific thing will be there, when a specific naval ship will come, for example, we have already discussed INS Vikramaditya, INS Vikram, INS Virat. I think that is the final thing. If in the current affair anything becomes relevant, then we will discuss. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about submarines. That is what the main topic I was talking about today. Just like we have discussed many of the missiles there, we will discuss submarines in detail. Because as I told you, just to reiterate the point that the categorization or the structuring is very important, right? Let's start. So with respect to submarines, we have some conventional submarines. We have already discussed Project 75. So they are discussing a Kalvari series submarines. So they are diesel electric submarines, right? Diesel electric. So these are in the process. Kalvari has been inducted. Kalvari, Kandhiri, Karanj, Vela, Wagir and Wakshir. So these are 6. But they are electric, diesel electric submarines. Now, the next submarines are nuclearly powered submarines. Nuclear submarines. So first one is submersible ship nuclear, that is SSN. And the other one is SSBN. So the word ballistic is added there. Okay. So one section of the nuclearly powered submarines are SSN and second is SSBN. With SSN we have Chakra 1, Chakra 2 and Chakra 3. With respect to SSBN we have Arihant and Arighat. Okay. So we'll discuss first of all the difference between SSN and SSBN. Before that, as I've already discussed, Project 75, it has been already discussed in the previous month defense, so please go and see that. But just for the revision purposes, so I was discussing about Kalvari, Kandheri and Karans, and the Vaga, Vakshir and all these will be there, right? Then Project 75, I'll discuss, build upon the idea of Project 75, it is Project 75I has been built. Now, I've also discussed the idea of the strategic partnership model, right? Okay. Next, let's start our discussion. So, India's nuclear submarine plan, as already told you. So, SSNR, Chakra 1, Chakra 2 and Chakra 3, they have been developed with the help of the Russia. We have leased Chakra 1 and Chakra 2. Okay, you can see INS Chakra 1 on 10-year lease from Russia. INS Arihant, we have made it indigenously. And INS Arighat is under preparation. So, first SSN. So SSN, that is Chakra 1, Chakra 2 and Chakra 3, they are attack submarines. Getting my point? Attack. They are there to attack. They are propelled by the nuclear force power, obviously. That is why they are there. They are capable of launching some conventional weapons, torpedo and cruise missiles. Now, that is the biggest difference between SSN and SSBN. Okay, we'll discuss. So they are used for the strategic response, SSBN. For example, they will be there. They are having if we have SSBN, ballistic missiles, if we can launch from that, then we get an deterrence, we get a strategic capability. Okay, this country has SSBN. This is really good. It has a very strong naval power because it can do that. However, we will not do that. Why? Because we are a responsible nuclear power, right? We are a responsible power, not nuclear power per se, but we are responsible power. So talking about SSBN, so they are obviously propelled by the nuclear power. There is a commonality. They are equipped with ballistic missiles. They are used as deterrents and they attack the submarines, not as attack submarines. So if the war, for example, goes on, a small skirmish happen, so the first submarines that will be deployed are SSNs. But SSBNs will be on a strategic level. It can attack you from anywhere. Anytime we can launch a missile from there. But those are basically for the deterrence purpose, not the attack purpose. Okay. So just to reiterate the difference between those. So attack. So SSNs are, it's generally all purpose attack submarines, but they are strategic attacks. Okay. So the same things, rest of the things are same. Okay. For example, you can see whereabouts. So it is a war prone. As it looks to destroy the enemy ship, right? However, SSBN, it keeps its position secret from the other ships and submarine. So it is a secret. Nobody knows where it is. Then we attack very strategically to gain a uphold in the case of war or in case of the conflict, right? Okay. So discussing very quickly the SSN. So SSN is first INS Chakra, that is a nuclear powered submarine inducted into Navy. Then INS Chakra 2. So it's a second nuclear submarine. SSNs, okay, inducted in 2012. So obviously it will be better than the Chakra 1. So they twice the amount of water, so you can go to the higher operating depth. Which submarine will be good? Which can go more into the water, right? The more distance from the ocean surface, the more better the submarine will be, right? It is deployed with the Eastern Naval Command, not too much important. Then Chakra 3. So we have $3 billion we have spent to lease this particular submarine. So recently India and Russia have signed a deal. Okay, right. So we have discussed the this SSNs. Now we'll discuss the SSBNs, INS Arihant and INS Arighat. Because I will say that you must have heard of INS Arihant many of the times, but we need to know under which category it lies in, right? Under which classification it lies in, and that is what is important for us. Now discussing INS Arihant. So INS Arihant is a part of the which program? Advanced Technology Vehicle program of India. We have indigenously developed it. It is India's first nuclearly powered ballistic missile submarine. Okay. Displacement capacity, don't have to remember this. So on this Arihant, these are submarine launched ballistic missiles, K-15, K-4, if you remember from the last lecture. So K-4, 15, K-4, K-5, these missiles, right? So this is Arihant. So this is just to reiterate it, this is a picture from the last class. So I have discussed in detail Sagarika, K-4, K-5. So these are the missiles launched from they are faster, the Agni launched from the Arihant, right? K-4 and K-5, right? K-15 Sagarika missiles. So same story, we started somewhere in 1990s. India begins the hunt for the nuclear submarine. You can see that 1970s. Then we first of all we leased INS Chakras, but we started development of the INS Arihant, and finally the INS Arihant in 2016 was commissioned. Now we are looking to expand to other INS Arighat, advanced version of the INS Arihant. More importantly, if you talk about nuclear submarine clubs, you can compare India's military might as compared to the other nations, right? I'm not in a negative way, but I'm telling you, we talk ourselves a global power, right? So global power consists of not only the soft power, but also the hard power. Within the hard power, it is one of the indicators. For example, you can see US has 72 nuclear submarines. Russia has over 40 submarines. UK and France have 10 to 12 each. China has 10 nuclear submarines. Currently, how many nuclear submarines we have? 3 in the INS Chakra that we have leased. Then we have made only 2. Only INS Arihant, in fact, is currently we have. So we have to be realistic with respect to our expectation also. We need to know concretely how much strength we have. And this is why we have to increase our arsenal for the hard power as well. Okay, right. Quickly, we'll move to the INS Arighat. So INS Arighat will be built upon the second Arihant class submarine. So what will be this class? So basically the first product of the segment start the class. For example, we have discussed Kalveri class, right? So Kalveri was the first diesel electric vehicle submarine. So that becomes a Kalveri class. So any other, for example, INS Kandheri comes, so we'll say INS Kalveri class submarine. So that you don't have to specify the journal features of the submarine. If I tell you the name, that is INS Arihant, so everybody knows, okay, it is from the SSBN, it is a part of an advanced technology vessel program, and this. Okay, so this much is relevant for us, INS Arighat. So this is submarines are done. Now we'll discuss some of the other facts and we'll wrap up the session. Next is Apache helicopters. So Apache helicopters, that's an American procurement. So just need to know from where countries we are procuring, right? For example, we have seen INS Chakra we are doing with Russia. We have Spike missiles from Israel. We have Apache helicopters from America, right? So like that. Okay. So recently Air Force has formally inducted some Apache helicopters into it. So it will replace some of the Russian origin Mi-35 helicopters. Okay. Right, so these are the specifications, not important for us. Then LCA Tejas. So we have already discussed light amber combat aircraft Tejas last time. We have discussed from 1970s. It has been in the conceptualization, but recently it has been inducted. So there's a naval variant of IC Tejas that can be that can go on the land and take off from the INS Vikramaditya. Okay, so just remember the INS Vikramaditya we have already discussed. So India has become a selected group of countries which can do that, which can do these LCA light combat aircraft can take off and land on the this naval ships. Okay, other countries like US, UK, France, Russia, these are the only countries which can do that. And it is very tough. Why? It is barely 200 meters on which this process can take place. And it is very less for the, if you have ever been to flights, you know how much distance the flights and the aircraft required for the thing, right? So we have discussed the LCA and this journey of Tejas last time. Okay. Next is ICGS Varaha. So that is Indian Coastal Guard Ship. So ICGS means Indian Coastal Guard Ship Varaha. So again, so many coastal guard ships will be there, but it is in the current affair. That is why you just need to know it. Otherwise, there are many coastal guard ships. If you start learning each and every name, it will be very tough. However, it was in the current affair. That is why we have to discuss it. So it's an Indian Coastal Guard Ship Varaha. It's a Vikram class offshore patrol vessel. So from the name itself, you know what it does. It's an offshore patrol vessel. So for the patrolling in the nearby seas, nearby areas. That's it. Okay, right. So ship is designed to carry out 20, not too much. So it will have some helicopter or some boat, something like that. For example, that is what I was telling. So it started from the ICGS Vikram. So that is why it is a Vikram series, right? So Varaha is finally, you can see commissioned. It was wide in the news because it was recently in September month, it was commissioned into the Coastal Guard. Okay, very quickly we'll move to the next class. So remember, Vikram class is a class of the, if the question, any question is built on that, they will definitely ask you, if they build a question on it. I believe there won't be any question on it, but if they build a question on it, it will be on the Vikram class. So Vikram class is the offshore patrol vessel of the Coast Guards. Okay. Then Rustam series. So Rustam 2 are the UAV, that is unmanned air vehicle, unmanned aerial vehicle, right? So it is also known as the Tapas BH201. So remember, whenever the two names are there, the question can be asked. We have discussed Pakke and Pukki, right? Pakke and Pukhai. So Tiger Reserve. So it's a medium altitude, long endurance unmanned aerial vehicle designed to carry out operations like intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. Okay. So this is the part. It will be a part of the Rustam series of Rustam line of UAVs. So we have Rustam 1, Rustam H, Rustam C, something like that. So if they ask you a question on Rustam 2, what it is, very easy question will be there, I hope. So question answer will be only that it is an unmanned air vehicle helping our Indian Air Force. Okay. So the payloads it can carry, again, not too much important. You just need to have a common sense that what it will do. When it will be having an unmanned, what it will do, it will help in the border security, it will help in intelligence gathering, it will help in reconnaissance and all these things. Okay. Situational awareness and these things. Right. Nextly, Golden Arrows. So what is Golden Arrows? So Golden Arrows is basically a battalion, a squadron. It is not battalion. Battalion is called in army. So squadron in Indian Air Force. Okay. So it is known as it is a special squadron that will operate the Rafale that we have procured. Okay. So it is a part of the Ambala Air Force station. And it has already participated previously in liberation of Goa, Indo-Pak War, Bangladesh War, Safed Sagar. We have discussed Safed Sagar operation. Okay, so Golden Arrows will be the one. So just remember, if the question is asked, what are the Golden Arrows? So Golden Arrow is nothing but one of the battalion in the army, the squadrons in the Air Force squadron, right? So it will be the one who will carry out the Rafale. They will take care of Rafale. So Operation Safed Sagar, remember? So it was the operation of the Indian, that is why I put it here. So that is already we have covered it. So it has been the help of the Indian Air Force in the Kargil battle to the Indian Army, right? Next is Joint Naval Annual Quality Enclave. So this particular initiative is being not important first of all. So it is for the quality assurance. So quality assurance programs to maintain the qualitative aspect of the with respect to the Navy. Okay, with the different initiatives on Navy, different, for example, many of the INS ships, submarines, and all this. So I'm making sure that the quality assurance is there. So it has been under the aegis of the Director General of the Quality Assurance under Ministry of Defense, right? It happened in September. That is why we are covering it. So with this, we come to an end of our defense this September month. In September, I have taken defense at a very war footing, I'll say. I have discussed many of the missiles. I've taken up my structures. I've discussed the submarines. So a relatively long session of defense, but I'm telling you, it will really help you to classify things and get the things under order, right? So we are done with the defense series. Now I tell you one thing, with this defense, we always end our current month. But however, some structuring issues are there on the YouTube. So please don't be thinking that after defense, why economy is coming. That is, don't have to worry about that, because we are mentioning very clearly on the website, on our YouTube channel, that which session is where and what this carries. That's it. Okay, and you will decipher it easily. So do revise, keep on revising. Any issue, let us know. We'll solve your issues, right? See you in the next class. Thank you, everyone.